Hi, my name is Dagmar, and I'm a clairvoyant spiritual healer, teacher, author, and speaker. And today I want to talk to you about physical pain. You know, physical pain is like rampant in our society. And it's sad to me to see that with all the billions of dollars that we spend apparently on medical research and all that good jazz, and have all these doctors and physicians and that study so hard and so much, that we have no real solutions for physical pain. And you know, basically the two primary solutions offered in our medical industry are either surgery or painkillers, drugs. And drugs are certainly not a permanent solution. They just mask the pain, and usually people taking drugs aren't really out of pain because the drugs become, how should I say, it's, you know, you just start having more and more pain as you're taking more and more drugs. It just kind of, they wear off and you need stronger and stronger medications. And as far as surgery is concerned, my belief is that it's not a real solution for pain, and yet we use it to eliminate pain with it. And I don't think that's a viable option, really, because if you think about it, by surgical invasion into our body, we're really inflicting more pain into our body. How can that be resolving our pain? There's some alternative options for you in terms of managing your pain, like for example aromatherapy. There are some things that work for some pain, including now in Colorado they have the whole law of being able to smoke pot or marijuana and alleviate some pain. But who can function, you know, being high? Or, I mean, can you function? I can't function. Anyway, and they're just temporary solutions. There are no real solutions, really. I am here to talk to you about a very different alternative solution to pain. And I come from a spiritual healer perspective. And by spiritual, let me clarify, I don't mean religious. I am not affiliated with any organized religion. By spiritual, I simply mean that I work with your spirit, and I hope that you know that you have one. I hope that you know that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. And what I mean by spiritual, I work with the aspect of the spiritual world, understanding how it works. I have a lot of wisdom in that area, and how it manifests itself in our physical world. But, you know, being a spiritual being, everything starts in your spiritual energy, in your spiritual self. Okay, so that's where the source or the cause of a lot of problems are. And so anyway, I just wanted to clarify the whole spiritual meaning of spiritual. Some people think it's religious. It's not. I'm just strictly talking about anything that deals with your spirit. And you know, talking about physical pain, I'm going to give you a visual so that you can understand a little bit what I'm talking about. I am sure you probably heard of people losing limbs and then still feeling like they have that limb. Like for example, they lose an arm and yet they still have a feeling of having that arm. Why is that? Why is the arm gone and we still feel like we have it? Because you know why? Because it's a programmed memory in our subconscious mind of having that limb, of having that arm. And it's much the same way with pain. Okay? So like for example, say you're having surgery. By the way, just because you're under anesthetic and fully unconscious does not mean that you're not experiencing pain when you are having a surgery. Because your subconscious mind records all of that while you're under, and it records double time while you're not conscious of it. So whether you're having a whether you're having a surgery or you injured yourself, there's been some infliction of pain. Now that pain gets recorded in your subconscious mind, and you have full memory of that pain, including the entire experience of what you've experienced, including, you know, it's basically your subconscious mind takes a snapshot of your experience, and everything's included in that snapshot, including all that you've eaten, and that's been in your stomach, everything, your blood pressure, your pulse, your what you're feeling, your emotions, you know, whether you're next to a red wall or not, what's being said, who's around you, everything's recorded in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind doesn't leave a single thing out. And so basically you have a memory of this pain. Now, when the experience that you've had isn't fully digested, fully healed, or resolved, as I call it, it remains per se active and has a certain amount of charge. And so anything that's in that snapshot of your memory can basically re-stimulate this pain that you're having. So you know, it could be an emotion, it could be the weather, it could be the fact that you were next to a red wall and you walked by something red, or it could be through touch, or it could be through movement, it could be through a situation. So anything can re-stimulate that old pain, and all of a sudden you're re-experiencing that. That's why, okay, when you've had a surgery and everything has healed up, 5 years later, say for example, all of a sudden you can experience pain in that portion of your body where you had the surgery without really any rhyme or reason. There's nothing, you know, it's been all healed. Why would you have to experience pain again? That's because that memory has been activated somehow. Okay, you re-stimulated it somehow. You've been reminded of that memory somehow, and all of a sudden you're reliving that memory by actually re-experiencing the pain. The same goes for injuries. Okay, whether it's a surgery or injury, you can re-stimulate that old unresolved pain, and all of a sudden be re-experiencing that pain again. Now, it may be different in intensity, it may be far less in intensity, but nonetheless, your body doesn't know the difference between the actual experiencing the actual injury, say for example, or the memory it's reliving. You have all the symptoms. Okay, now then there may be a possibility of you all of a sudden experiencing pain in a part of your body that you don't recall having any injury, nor do you recall having any surgery there, and all of a sudden a pain shows up, and I call it a phantom pain, for example, because it doesn't seem to have a rhyme or reason why it's occurring. Now, we always go around justifying everything, so we may blame it on the weather, the way we sat, the way we the way we ran, the way we stood, you know, the way we repeat things. But I'm here to tell you that, you know, what happens is, whether you believe, and I mean, you may not believe in past lives, I don't know, but whether you believe in past lives or not, you probably have had some, and it all works just the same whether you believe it or not. I'm here to tell you that you probably most likely have had some past lives, and you probably most likely have had injuries in those past lives, or surgeries in those past lives, and have gotten hurt. And so what happens is that, again, the unresolved experience, the unresolved, unhealed, undigested, whatever you want to call it, pain or experience, is then by the soul, by your soul, imprinted on your body when you're born. And so it is actually recorded in your body and your memory in this lifetime. And thus it can be re-stimulated, just like the surgery you had in this lifetime or the injury you had in this lifetime, and suddenly you're experiencing pain in your body that has no rhyme or reason. And I'll give you some examples of all that in just a little bit, but that's how it kind of works. The other thing that happens is that we also store emotional pain in our bodies, and that's quite commonly known out there in the alternative counseling type arena, I guess. And that's very true as well. So, but in any case, let me give you some examples. I had recently a client who, for 20-30 years she had been having pain in her hip. She had gone to chiropractors, she had seen doctors, she had had x-rays done, she tried yoga and all kinds of alternative different things. Nothing would eliminate her pain in her hip. They couldn't find anything wrong with her hip other than to say that possibly she had arthritis in her hip and therefore it hurt. And so she came to me for actually an entire different reason for healing, and somehow we got on the subject of her hip. And in one session she went into a past lifetime where the pain originated. We healed that past lifetime and she no longer had hip pain. It was all gone when she walked out of my session, never to return again. It's a permanent type of a healing. It's once you heal it, it's gone, and she no longer has hip pain. So that's one example. Another example is I had a lady an older lady who had a surgery on her wrist because her wrist kept hurting all the time, and she, opted the surgical method, which so many of us, if we are in so much pain, tend to see as a solution, and I don't think it really is. But she had a surgery, and after the surgery, about 2 weeks later, there was swelling in her wrist and there was additional pain in her wrist. So the pain never really did go away after the surgery, but she opted to have a number of sessions with me, and so we went ahead and did some past life healings again. Some of it was this life stuff, some of it was some beliefs she had, all basically in her wrist. And after a number of healings with her, we managed to reduce her pain down to almost nothing, maybe 5-10%, and the swelling was completely gone. So she probably never had to have the surgery. Okay, all she had to do is heal the unresolved painful experiences she had and the belief system she held in her wrist. And so anyway, so we did that. And let's see another example. I had a lady client that came to me with shoulder pain, and it turned out she contributed to a lot of driving and the way she sat in the car, and we finally did a healing on her, and she was able to see a past lifetime where the pain originated again. We healed it, we helped her heal it. She digested the experience, healed all of that. The pain was gone, permanently gone, and nowhere to return again. It's a permanent healing. I've had many experiences like that with many different clients, including I've done it on myself. Another example was a gentleman I had who had infections in his gums all the time and wanted to have gum surgery to take care of that for about 10 grand. I talked him into coming to see me, and he did, and after about 5 or 6 sessions with him, we completely eliminated the gums as being a problem. Turns out that he held a lot of anger in his gums, and so once we healed that, the gum problem infection subsided, and it's no longer an issue. So here's some examples for you in terms of how pain can be eliminated spiritually. I mean, unless there's something mechanically wrong that's causing the pain. Like I had an ACL tear. I chose to surgically repair that. But it wasn't because I had pain in my knees, but because I had leeway and I couldn't, my knee was popping out all the time and stuff, which caused then pain. But, things like that you may need a surgery for. I recently had also a kidney stone surgery to remove a kidney stone, but, it depends on what it is. But if it is something that, is painful that you don't have a rhyme or reason for, it just keeps occurring, there's nothing, doctors can't find anything wrong with that part of your body, most likely can spiritually take care of it. And also, just remember, even the mechanical stuff that happens, I mean, there's always a reason why that happened in the first place that comes from the spiritual place. So anyway, I hope that helps. Give you some ideas, an alternative to eliminating permanently physical pain, because I know how debilitating it can be, and I would be happy to help you for far, far lesser cost than the medical industry claims to be able to help you. So anyway, I want to clarify the term healing with you. There's a lot of connotations about that, what that is, healing. Some of it comes from our mainstream idea of that there is something wrong with us, therefore we need to be healed. Like from the standpoint of mentally being ill. I don't believe in mental illness or that there's anything wrong with you. I believe that we all have unresolved experiences, which means there are experiences we've had that involve pain that we haven't fully digested, resolved, or completed. And I call it really karma. And sometimes it happens so that we experience pain that is so intense that we just can't digest it in the moment. We just kind of tend to shove it and you know, don't want to deal with it. And so it becomes an unresolved experience. And as long as that experience is unresolved, we keep manifesting that in our physical reality, either through experiencing that pain in some fashion or another, or, you know, situationally. So anyway, I want to just clarify the term healing with you, because to me what healing means is basically helping you find, or working with you on a subconscious level. And I take you in a light meditative state, I take you through your own healing experience, through your own subconscious, to where the problem is actually coming from. And then I help you heal it, consume it, digest it, resolve it, whatever you want to call it. And once it's done, it's a permanent kind of a healing. And when you shift that kind of energy within your spiritual self, you actually change outwardly what your reality looks like, because we do create our reality with our spiritual energy. And so I would recommend, if this is of interest to you, if you've been suffering from some pain and would like to try this, you're welcome to give me a call. And you know, perhaps you'd like a 30-minute reading with me, a clairvoyant reading and a consultation. I can do that over the phone with you, and you know, we can look at your specific situation to see if it is something that I can help you resolve on a spiritual level. And you can kind of get to know me a little bit more on the phone and ask me questions, and we can go from there. My phone number is 303-638-2696, and you know, feel free to call me, or you can look me up online at www.thespiritualhealer.info. That's my website. I have testimonials on that website. I have blogs I write. You might want to take a look at this particular blog I wrote called Phantom Pain, which kind of talks about what I talked about here today. And I wish you all the best. Namaste.